Of course, still have online with us Dolores Huerta,
yes,
longtime labor activist.
And Dolores is still on the line with us. Gil Cedillo, why are you supporting Barack Obama?
I'm supporting Barack Obama because the challenges that confront this country are not challenges of capacity. It's not about whether or not we have experienced people in this country. We have plenty of experienced people, talented people, capable people. The challenge that exists in this country, and the questions of war and peace, are challenges of leadership. And on those matters, this young man has proven himself to be an extraordinary leader. He's uncompromising. He's taken positions that are not politically safe. He's taken them because they're the right thing to do. He's lived his life as an example of leadership. He's going to bring our nation together, independents, Republicans, Democrats, young and old, people of all races, all genders. He's an extraordinary human being, and we would be honored to have him as our president.
I wanted to turn to another clip from the debate last night that took place at the Kodak Theater, absolutely packed out, between Hillary Rodham Clinton and Barack Obama. And this was about the issue of jobs. Let's turn to that clip.
I think to suggest somehow that the problem that we're seeing in inner city unemployment, for example, is attributable to immigrants, I think is a case of scapegoating that I do not believe it. I do not subscribe to it. And this is where we do have a very real difference with the other party. I believe that we can be a nation of laws and a nation of immigrants. Now, there is no doubt that we have to get control of our borders. We can't have hundreds of thousands of people coming over to the United States without us having any idea who they are. I also believe that we do have to crack down on those employers that are taking advantage of the situation, hiring folks who cannot complain about worker conditions, who aren't getting the minimum wage sometimes or aren't getting overtime. We have to crack down on them. I also believe we have to give a pathway to citizenship after they've paid a fine and learned English to those who are already here, because if we don't, they will continue to undermine U.S. wages. But let's understand more broadly that the economic problems that African Americans are experiencing, whites are experiencing, blacks and Latinos are experiencing in this country are all rooted in the fact that we have had an economy out of balance. We've had tax cuts that went up instead of down. We have had a lack of investment in basic infrastructure in this country. Our education system is chronically underfunded. And so there are a whole host of reasons why we have not been generating the kinds of jobs that we are generating. We should not use immigration as a tactic to divide. Instead, we should pull the country together to get this economy back on track. That's what I intend to do as President of the United States of America.
All right, Senator Clinton, now we're going to stay on this subject, but Doyle has a follow-up.
Senator Clinton, Senator Obama has said that he favors allowing illegal immigrants to obtain driver's licenses, and you opposed that idea. Why?
Well, let me start with the original question from Kim, because I think it deserves an answer. I believe that in many parts of our country, because of employers who exploit undocumented workers and drive down wages, there are job losses, and I think we should be honest about that. There are people who have been pushed out of jobs in factories and meat processing plants and all kinds of settings, and I meet them. You know, I was in Atlanta last night, and an African-American man said to me, I used to have a lot of construction jobs, and now it just seems like the only people who get them anymore are people who are here without documentation. So I know that what we have to do is to bring our country together to have a comprehensive immigration reform solution. That is the answer. What we've got to do is to say, come out of the shadows. We will register everyone. We will check, because if you have committed a crime in this country or the country you came from, then you will not be able to stay. You will have to be deported. But for the vast majority of people who are here, we will give you a path to legalization if you meet the following conditions. Pay a fine because you entered illegally. Be willing to pay back taxes over time. Try to learn English, and we have to help you do that because we've cut back on so many of those services. And then you wait in line.
Again, those were the candidates last night at the Kodak Theater, Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. Dolores Huerta, your response, and also to the issue raised by Federico Pena that he saw this statement by Hillary Clinton as, in essence, scapegoating immigrants.
Well, I don't believe so. I think, first of all, we have to remember that this so-called black and brown divide is coming from the media, and they would love to see nothing better than to see a division between black and brown, so that in November the Republicans again can take control of the White House. So I don't see that here. You know, we have some of the strongest civil rights leaders like Andy Young, Martin Luther King's right hand, and John Lewis, an active civil rights worker that are supporting Hillary Clinton. When we say that Latinos won't vote for an African American, that's ridiculous. Ron Dellums, who is supporting Hillary Clinton, the mayor of Oakland, was just recently elected when he ran against a very strong, popular Latino labor leader, Ignacio de la Fuente. I supported Ron Dellums, and of course the Latinos in Oakland supported him to win that mayorship, and he won, on the first ballot without even a runoff. And we have a big history of coming together to elect, blacks for browns, and Antonio Peña was elected with the African community. Of course, Mr. Cedillo didn't endorse him, but he won with the strong support of the African American community. Maxine Waters, Diane Watson, both strong congresswomen, African American women, are supporting Hillary Clinton. So this black-brown divide is being perpetuated and promoted by the press, and we've got to be careful not to fall into that. On the driver's license issue, I just want to say this, is that Gil Cedillo, actually, we had the driver's license in California. Governor Gray Davis paid a price for that. He signed the driver's license bill, and Gil Cedillo is the one that led the fight in the Senate, in the California legislature, to get rid of the driver's license after we already had it. I think that we all have to come together and think of one thing. We need immigration reform. That's what we need. We have to work very hard to get a Congress that is going to be able to pass a decent, workable law for immigration reform. One other thing I just want to throw in here is that Hillary Clinton has, been a very strong labor leader. She has co-sponsored or sponsored over 30 pieces of legislation for working people. She's intervened in labor disputes, over 11 of them, to settle labor disputes between unions and their employers. She has blocked picket lines. So, you have to look at her record. Her record is exemplary.
Dolores, I just want to interrupt you because we only have a few more minutes, and I wanted to ask one last question to Gil Cedillo, which is on the issue of the foreign policy. To those on the left who say that both Clinton and Obama are, in essence, neoliberals who are supporting the growth of the American empire, Obama wants 90,000 more troops in the U.S. Military, and Clinton is ready to possibly go to war with Iran. What do you say on this issue of both of the candidates and how they are dealing with the issue of the American empire?
Well, let me begin by saying that it would be a tremendous message to the world community for us to elect an African-American, son of an immigrant, father Kenyan, his mother Anglo-American, an extraordinary message. Second, he has a different vision for our role standing in the world. He believes in diplomacy, and it is a pillar of his view for how we deal with foreign policy. He's against NAFTA, Juan, you know that, and you would like that position, as I share it. And so we're going to look at someone who has a different view of the world, who will have a capacity to embrace and be embraced in this kind of shrinking global world of ours. And so he is a person who will be a leader and who will be embraced by other world leaders. He has said, and I think this is key, that he is willing to go and talk to other leaders around the world, whether they agree with us or not, to make our position clear in the world. He is open to that, to diplomacy. He doesn't fear negotiating, and so he believes we should negotiate from strength, but doesn't fear negotiating with others in the world. Let me go back, if I may.
We just have 15 seconds, Gil.
Well, let's just be clear what the distinctions were. She's against driver's license. She accepted the scapegoating argument, and her pollster serves as the basis for creating this so-called black Latino divide. Clearly not positions of leadership, not getting above the fray. Very disappointing last night to hear fall into the myth that somehow Latinos are displacing African Americans and displacing other workers in this country.
We're going
to myth. That's the right-wing myth that's perpetuated every day on AM radio and Lou Dobbs. It's anti-immigrant hysteria, and we should be above that.
We want to leave it there. I want to thank you both for being with us. Gilbert Cedillo, California State Senator, as well as Dolores Huerta, longtime labor activist, co-founder of the United Farm Workers of America with Cesar Chavez. She, of course, a Clinton supporter, Gil Cedillo, an Obama supporter. This is Democracy Now!, Democracy